Councilman Austin here. Can y'all hear me?
Councilor Austin, we can hear you just fine. Deputy, can you start this meeting?
Okay, this meeting is called to order at 12:38. Special council meeting, Thursday, December 17th, 2020.
Clerk, can you call the roll?
Okay, Councilor Austin?
Present.
Councilor Smith?
Present.
Councilor Martin?
Present. No, I had it right here. I didn't put it here.
Councilor Gaudy?
Present. No.
Hi, Ms. Gowdy. And Council President Stevenson.
Present.
You have all 5 councilors.
I hate to jump in, but the record is still not working on my computer. If you could unlock it so it can be recorded, I will remind you this is a public meeting. You are under the sunshine laws, so you can't restrict anyone from recording it.
We're not restricting anyone, Mayor. We have to protect.
Pushing record is saying that the host has to give me permission. The host
But
has
she
to
can't, Mr. Mayor, she cannot give you permission now. The meeting has started. If she gives you permission now, we lose the video. We've gone through this before,
the meeting started, and she said she had to wait till the meeting started. So if
I'm telling you what's going to happen, and I can't spend a lot of time with this. This is not an issue for the.
It's a public meeting. You got sunshine laws. You got to unlock it.
Mr. Mayor, we understand that. We have done that before, and we lost the meeting. We cannot afford to go through that again. I have asked Andrew to come in and sit down and talk to us about this, and so we can work through it prior to a meeting. We can't do it now.
We have to.
I'm not going to lose the meeting, Mayor. And we've done it before, and we lost the meeting.
We can just log back in and everybody will be okay. Get it fixed.
That's not true. It has to be done when the meeting is set up. It can't be done after the meeting begins. Anybody recording for the meeting must be on the list prior to or when the meeting is set up. We can't go out, come back in.
On the list to record a meeting. What kind of split does that make? How does a city not have the administration, not have the power and or authority or the authorization?
Mr. Austin, we're not filibustering today. There's a process here we must follow or we lose our minutes, and I am not going to lose my minutes because of a whim. We need to do this prior to the meeting set up.
How about your
Please. Let's move on with the meeting.
How about that little flick backdoor stuff you keep on doing is really causing a problem? So we need to stop this meeting to fix it. You fix it. That's it.
Ain't nothing to fix.
Andrew is a contracted, is our cameraman. He should be able to record the meetings and post them.
Point of order. Point of order. We are not saying that he cannot record the meeting. There's a process that must be followed in order for him to do so. Please respect the process.
Let's follow the process.
The process is broken because you don't have a plan. That's the problem. How can you not
need to get on with this meeting? Point of order. Clerk.
How could you make it so a videographer cannot record?
Yes, ma'am.
Take your camera, start pointing to the screen, and that's how you're going to record, because you never come to nothing.
All right, Council
Point
President.
of order. We need to stay on task, clerk.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Remarks on agenda items only, 2 minutes.
Point of order. Is anyone going to waive the 24-hour rule so this meeting can be legal?
We can't get to that because you all keep going
We
on.
got to get started first. We got to now. We got to be
Mr. Martin.
professional.
Mr. Martin,
I'm waiting us to get officially started. Have we started?
we are started, Mr. Martin.
Okay, I need a motion on the
Yeah, I
floor.
motion to waive the 24-hour rule. That's one motion, and I move that we invoke rule.
Hold
9.
on, Mr. Martin, we can only do one motion at a time.
All right, let's go with the first one. I motion that we waive the 24-hour rule, or I move that we waive the 24-hour rule.
Second the motion.
Okay, Counselor Martin,
Yay!
Counselor Gowdy,
Yay.
Counselor Smith,
Yay.
Counselor Austin,
A video for yay.
Counselor Stevenson.
Yay.
The next motion is I move that we invoke Rule 9, changing the order of business and move straight to legislation. That's my next motion.
Second, a motion.
All right. Counselor Gowdy,
Yay.
Counselor Martin,
Yay!
Counselor Smith,
Nay.
Counselor Austin,
Nay.
Counselor Stevenson.
Yay.
The motions are passed.
Fast, we had 3.
Legislation. Ordinance number 5420, a resolution to make temporary appropriations in various funds for the current expenses and other expenditures of the City of East Cleveland for the period between January 1st, 2021 and March 31st, 2021. Requested by Kareem Stevenson, Council President, sponsored by Kareem Stevenson, Council President.
The purpose of this legislation is so that the staff in the city of East Cleveland, while we go through this tumultuous time of finding out where our funds are with regard to the legality of the expenditure of funds, this is necessary for the staff to get paid in the coming 3 months. We are not here trying to take money away from the staff or do any of the negative things that are being we're being accused of. We're trying to get past a difficult time in this budgeting process.
Point of order, you didn't pass the gavel. We're not following policy and procedure once again.
Okay, thank you. Did you
I'm
pass
sorry,
the gavel?
I'm sorry, I misspoke, Ms. Gowdy.
I know,
I'm passing
I know.
the gavel.
Madam President, this resolution,
Look at that name, man.
the ordinance.
I can't hear you.
Madam President, this ordinance bear your name. What is your pleasure?
I'm requesting the council's assistance to pay the staff in the coming 3 months while we work out the difficulties of the budget.
Any discussions?
It would be cool if we could have the
Door
president
recognized
actually address the
Councilman
ordinance
Blake Martin.
properly in accordance with Robert's rule.
What did he say?
Ms. Gowdy, I couldn't hear you.
Recognize Robert's rule in order to move forward.
Mr. Austin, you not recognize Ms. Gowdy is talking.
Yes, if
Oh,
you
yeah.
wanna do it over again so we can work in this, we can. 9 times out of 10,
Right.
we don't need another lawsuit.
Right, so recognize Robert's rules and then we'll move forward.
What do you, Robert Rules is,
Madam
what do
President,
you think? What do you
fine.
think?
This is a meeting, Councilman.
Robert Rules is a big.
Where-
What I'm asking
What
is
do
that,
you think?
Where are we at, Ms. Gowdy?
right, so what I'm saying is, in order for her to recognize
Mr.
the
Austin, you
ordinance,
haven't
it
been
goes like this.
recognized. Ms. Gowdy?
You just asked me a question.
No,
Which
we
one
didn't
you wanna
ask
do?
you
You
a
wanna
question.
do
I
it
asked
all?
Ms. Gowdy to speak up so I can
Okay,
hear what she was saying.
I
And
am
you keep
recognized.
interfering.
But I am,
All right, Ms. Gowdy, you
Martin.
have the gavel. I'm
Okay,
gonna read the legislation one more time.
yeah.
Ordinance
Okay.
number 5420, a resolution to make temporary appropriations in various funds for the current expenses and other expenditures of the City of East Cleveland for the period between January 1st, 2021 and March 31st, 2021. This ordinance is requested by Corinne Stevenson, Council President, sponsored by Corinne Stevenson, Council President. Turn back over to you now, Council Vice President Juanita Gotti.
Councilman Stevenson, this ordinance, heard your name. What is your pleasure?
It is my pleasure to support this ordinance on behalf of the staff of the City of East Cleveland so that they will not miss any paychecks while we go through what we need to go through to vet it out this budget for fiscal year 2021.
Madam Chairman, I second the motion and we need to go to discussion, okay?
So I thought, don't you supposed to say something like move for adoption or something like that?
No, sir.
Now
Okay.
It's discussion
now
stage.
in discussion phase. And my question to all the council people, I'm looking, the changes, I want to ask the sponsor, is this your intent to peruse, to go through all of this? Or how do you plan to go through this? Because it's all the departments or is there anything that's germane that we need to discuss? That's my question to the sponsor.
You all have all the information that I have. I have no more information.
I have some discussion if I'm allowed, Council Vice President.
I still have the floor, Mr. Austin, and I'm being very patient with you. One of the reasons, in the reference to this,
Don't you hear all that?
There is background noise. Please mute your phones.
Next.
this will get us through for 3 months for 2021. This will give us time to discuss areas officially that we need to cover. And there's areas that we need to cover. And it'll give us enough time to do that. I think it's not a bad move to do that at this point. So I needed to say that. And I don't know if the other councilors, Austin, Smith, Gotti, had a chance to look at this. But this is, I want to say this is nothing new. Over the last 4 or 5 years, last 3 or 4 years, we didn't even have had budget hearings. But all the years going back, we've almost always done it 3/5 because we never were able to get it done at the end of the year. So there's nothing new about this. You need to know that. And it's always good to do it this way because even though we've had the budget hearings, there's certain things that we have not resolved. It gives us time to resolve that with all the 5 departments and all the 5 department heads. And if there's any differences between anything, then the mayor and the department heads, we can work it out. That's the focus of this. Thank you.
Okay.
And the chair recognizes
Can I have a
Councilman
second?
Austin right now. Speak, sir.
Thank you very much. As I take a look at the information that is indeed enrolled in this particular ordinance, there are some sections that are identified specifically in specific amounts of money. And it is my interpretation that if that is that's something that is lacking some detail. Certain positions in certain sections have been taken out and not funded. And from my perspective, if we take a look at what the administration says they need, and we start, taking away from that in critical areas, that is a grotesque assault on the democratic process and or resources that are expected to be provided by the citizens of this city. So if you want me to address specific positions and or dollars that were taken out, not by accident, but by malicious intent, moving forward, this malicious effort by specific persons is egregious. It is unlawful. It is unjustified. It is something that our residents really need to be a part of right now. And I guarantee you, I will not sit by and allow these little small...
The resident is on the line, please.
I don't see. Let me finish, please, if you would, madam. There are some efforts by specific individuals to persistently detract from the overall moving forward. I have no problem having a partial approval of certain appropriations, but the selection of specific agencies to cause harm to, or to somehow use it to move forward your own individual agenda, that's where I have a problem. If you say that this is 25% of our budget will be set aside for this period, I got you. But when you go through the process and select, take out the resources that are required to allow those areas and jobs to function, then you are doing some egregious, self-serving stuff that is not beneficial to our city, period. And we need to not sit by as a council to let that go. So if you want more detail, I will give it to you. That's all I have for now. I hope that the person that put this forward can come forth and tell us what those details that were, I can somehow left
We're
out.
on the 3-minute time limit now.
Got you. Thank you. It's not 3, but go ahead. We'll let that go. That's it. That's all I have. So let's talk about those specific areas where the budget was attacked, so to speak.
Mr. Ian has his hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Austin, and I definitely need to recognize the mayor that's here today.
Oh, well, Ms.
Thank you,
Gowdy,
Council Vice
Mr. Ian
President.
has his hand up.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Council Vice President. So she has recognized me, and I'd like to take a few minutes, my perspective and the administration while we're sitting here. I appreciate some of the remarks from Councilman Martin, and I wanted to further some of the things that he said just to kind of remind him. Since I've been the mayor, we have started back initiating the budget hearings, right? We have attempted every year since I've been the mayor to have these budget hearings, and every year we've gotten better at it. Since being in fiscal emergency, the Fiscal Commission has asked every year that we pass a permanent appropriations before the end of December. Councilman Martin should remember that because he voted on it every year before the end of the year. They're asking, we are in fiscal emergency, so our home rules, all of them don't apply because of the fiscal emergency status. The state has authority over certain things, and they've asked that we pass a permanent appropriations before the end of the year. We've done that every year I've been the mayor. The other thing, there's no fear in passing a permanent appropriations. One year we passed five reappropriations simply because of the way the traffic camera money was coming in. So council has the prerogative to come back and pass a reappropriations throughout the year. I'm gonna ask my chief of staff to comment further.
So also, this budget in particular doesn't just pay staff, it eliminates pay for other staff. It eliminates our ability to provide services to the residents.
The chief of staff is recognized.
By the mayor, I'm taking the rest of this time. Oh, thank you.
You are recognized now because I did not recognize you.
Thank you, Council Vice President.
You're not allowed, Ms. Gowdy, you're not allowed to pass time like that.
I was recognized. The portions of the budget that have been cut, and by whom we don't know, because we received the appropriations this morning when our finance director, who is a licensed professional who creates appropriations and does it for the city and has done it for several years, presented a legal document to council, and then we received back an illegal document. And I hope the finance director is on so that he can explain to you the illegalities of the document that's been submitted. Even if it's passed and it survives a veto, we can't enforce it simply because it violates Ohio Revised Code, and he'll explain it. But for the residents on the line, other parts of the budget, particularly in the service department, under professional services, all of the neighborhood groups funding come out of that line item. We have things in the pipeline that we can't pay for because that line item has been zeroed out. No trees, no specialty lighting, no ground hog removals, no sidewalks, all of that stuff that neighborhood groups have been planning, and we've been planning with them through this line item, and it has now been eliminated. And to say that 3 months from now we're going to come back and do it, I don't trust this process. It is unconscionable that we do not pass appropriate appropriations, which we have been doing since 2012, since we've been in fiscal emergency, based on the request of the Fiscal Commission, particularly the chair of the Fiscal Commission. If council wants to change the budget, that is the purpose of reappropriations. But we need to make sure that everybody that has been covered under this appropriation and every action that has been funded under the appropriations submitted by the finance director, that budget gets passed. There's only one licensed
You're up on 3 minutes, Mr.
professional who knows how to create a permanent appropriations or an appropriations period, and that is the finance
Chief
director.
of Staff, that's your time.
Thank you.
Any more?
Yes, I have a comment.
I would recognize Councilman Nathaniel Martin.
Number one, the Smedley was correct from 2012 up to, and then we pressed last year. But prior to that, going back 20-something years, we always, 90% of the time, we did 3/5. Okay. So the functions will go on. I wanted to ask Charles to get the date for the permanent appropriation for 2021. We have a deadline. If Charles is on, what is the deadline for us to pass the permanent appropriation?
Charles?
Is he on?
Charles, you are recognized.
Okay, so I'm gonna get straight to the point.
Get to the point. My question is, what is the deadline for us to pass the permanent appropriation for 2021?
Councilor Martin, the deadline, Councilor Martin, has been the same every year.
So what is it? So the other ones know. The other ones don't know. Tell them.
Every year, I sent council the RRC, the High Revised Code.
I want you to state for the record, Charles, the deadline, please.
I did, Councilor Martin, end of the year.
No.
December 31st.
So you said we have to pass the budget by December 31st when we, for years, passed the budget at the end of February and March? Are you telling me that, Charles?
Councilor Martin, I sent you the RRC. It states that either an annual appropriation or temporary appropriation has to be passed by before the next fiscal year. I will, if you need me to read it to you,
No, I'm glad you said that because this is a temporary. Okay. This is a temporary. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm gonna say that. I'm going to just say a couple things because one, this meeting was not a good time to do this because we have a fiscal commission meeting that's already been passed. Two, I sent you all the counselors, the RIC of how appropriations must be formatted. This temporary appropriation is formatted incorrectly. It cannot be by a line item like that. I'm going to go to the fiscal commission meeting now. Again, because that was already scheduled.
Are you still there?
Madam Vice.
Madam Chair,
Hello?
is Charles still there?
No, he's
Charles
not.
is gone.
Okay, are you, Madam President, are you going to the fiscal commission too?
I'm going to the fiscal commission, so we need to wrap this up.
All right.
Yeah.
Where's
We're gonna take a recess and we will be
No,
back.
we need to vote.
No,
we
Miss
need to
Gowdy,
vote.
no, we're not taking
Okay,
no
all right, I
recess.
thought we was out.
No, Miss Gowdy, we're gonna wrap this up.
Let's do it now. Any more discussion?
No,
Any
there's
more
not.
Before we go forward. Law director is not.
What I'd like to ask the question, if there is a way we can properly format this information. asking for the right format. If we know this in a legal format, let's fix that. And if we have to come back and reschedule for tomorrow, let's do that.
No,
You
we're
can't
not
vote on it
doing
because it's
that
not an
either.
emergency.
No, we're not. We're not doing that either.
You can't
We're
vote on it, it's not
we're
an
going
emergency.
to,
Person, it's okay. I don't want
this issue is, needs to be voted on. The discussion has ended, Ms. Gowdy.
It's not an emergency, you can't vote on it. It's not an
Madam President,
emergency.
is this emergency?
No.
Emergency. It's not an emergency.
The question is, does this move forward to agenda review for the next council meeting to do a second read? This is a public meeting. According to the charter, you have to, this is your public meeting to discuss this. Then it has to be 10 days after to go to a council meeting.
This is not an emergency, so this is the first read, right?
That's right.
Right.
All right.
We need to move this to agenda review.
Yes, and if we need to come back, I'll come back Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's how important it is.
Yeah.
But right now, before you go, Council President, and we move this to the agenda, I would like for you and Brandon to get together so we to discuss these things that we would put it off all year. We gotta do that. Thank you. All right.
The chair recognizes the president. Let's move on.
Thank you all.
I'm going to pass the gavel back.
Thank you all for taking the time to come. There is some consternation, I understand that. Things are going on, but this council must be safe. I would prefer this council be safe than sorry. And so we need to take the necessary steps to make sure that we are safe.
Ms.
That's what
Simmons,
this is about. I appreciate your attendance, but I have to go to another meeting. Thank you.
Ms. Simmons, do you have anything to say before you leave the room?